Gentlemen, please welcome Vice President of Communications and Investor Relations, Volkswagen Group, Hans-Gert Bode.
Guten Abend.
Good evening.
Guten Abend.
Good evening.
Meine Damen und Herren,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the IAA preview night of the Volkswagen Group. It's great to have you here. Seem to be a lot of people in the room. Now this year there are a lot of new things. For the first time, this event is being held in Hall 3, the home of the Volkswagen Group at the IAA, so to speak, and for the first time the group is presenting itself in the midst of its brands. In this way, we're putting our strategy together into practice, live. So, in a way, what you're seeing is a new Volkswagen, our way to collaborate as a group. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're pleased to welcome around 1,500 guests from all over the world tonight. And we know that at this year's IAA, there are lots of things to talk about. Things concerning the IAA and our industry as a whole. And we're open-minded about this. Our directors and experts will be available for any questions you might have later on. Now, when you look around, you can see what the IAA's visitors can look forward to. I know you're still sitting more or less in the dark, but that's going to change in the course of the evening. We're going to show you what highlights our brands have brought to the party. But first of all, our CEO, Matthias Müller, is going to join us by car, and he's going to explain to you how Volkswagen is shaping the way towards the mobility of the future. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Matthias Müller.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chairman of the Board of Management Volkswagen Group, Matthias Müller.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I suppose you've seen this car before, Cedric, the first fully autonomous vehicle of the Volkswagen Group. Cedric stands for the future of our industry, for digital connectivity, for autonomous driving, for zero-emission mobility. That's what we are working on with all our might at Volkswagen, and that's also what this IAA, this year's Frankfurt Motor Show, is all about, and this is also what we would like to discuss with you tonight. We're pleased to have you as our guests. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Cedric is more than a show car. Very soon, it's going to drive Volkswagen employees in our Wolfsburg factory from A to B without a driver as part of a pilot project. And our team is already working on ideas for an entire Cedric family, from fully autonomous vehicles for the city through luxurious long-distance mobility and spectacular sports cars to self-driving city delivery vans and, of course, heavy trucks. The experiences we gain in the process will be of benefit to the brands group and that way also to our customers. In a minute, we're going to show you the first fascinating example, and there'll be many more examples in the years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, this IAA is being held under special circumstances. The emotional debate on driving bans in cities, on the future of diesel engines and on electric motoring shows that the times when our industry celebrated itself here in Frankfurt, basking in its own glory, they're over. Business as usual won't do the trick anymore. It's about shaping major technological changes. It's about a new understanding of mobility that goes far beyond cars. But it's also about how we see ourselves as an industry. It's about credibility and trust. We can only regain trust if we are prepared and willing to accept justified criticism. Specifically, we have to be more transparent and honest when stating emission levels and fuel economy ratings. And we've got to tackle the future more boldly than before. For Volkswagen, I can say we got the message and we will deliver. Let me give an example. The current generation of internal combustion engines from the Volkswagen Group is among the most fuel-efficient and cleanest in the market. And that's not us telling you this. This is in fact confirmed by independent studies. For instance, our Euro 6 diesels in the pretty realistic WLTP test cycles deliver above average results. And that's important to bear in mind because state-of-the-art diesels are not the problem, they're an indispensable part of the solution. The past few weeks have shown there are no simple solutions to complex problems. If that's what you promise, you will fool yourself and others. You can't impose the futures on everyone else. You have to work hard for it, and that's got to be a joint effort. It's about much more than switching from technology A to technology B. It's about transforming an industrial structure that has grown over decades and that has brought progress and growth for many, and that is worth being kept alive. Now, I'm not saying we can carry on as before. If you cling to the status quo in a phase of historic change, you're bound to fall by the wayside. What I'm talking about is a coordinated, well-thought-out and systematic change from internal combustion engines to the age of electric motoring. And at the same time, that change must be shaped boldly, consistently and responsibly. Ideological trench warfare won't get us any further. It takes more commitment on the part of industry, and it requires a framework that promotes, not impedes, innovation in all relevant fields. Now, no one can say for sure what mobility will look like in 15 or 20 years from now. But we have clearly laid out our path towards this new world with our strategy, Together Strategy 2025. We're going to build on traditional Volkswagen qualities, the ability to innovate, engineering prowess, and the outstanding commitment of the people working for Volkswagen. But we're also going to set new priorities in digitization, in autonomous driving and artificial intelligence, with new mobility services and in e-mobility. We expect that by the year 2025, worldwide, 1 in 4 new cars from the Volkswagen Group could be all electric. Depending on the developments on the markets, we're talking about up to 3 million electric cars per year. And this figure shows what it means when a group such as Volkswagen focuses all its power on a single goal. I've seen one thing very clearly over the past few weeks. A company such as Volkswagen must boldly lead the way. A company such as Volkswagen must lead. It can't follow, especially when it comes to addressing the big issues of the future, and in particular when discussing powertrains, the very heart of any automobile. We want to develop Volkswagen into the global #1 in electric mobility by 2025, and we are going to achieve this goal. And that is why, here and now, we're starting the next phase towards this goal with Roadmap E, a core element of our strategy. The Volkswagen Group is launching the largest electrification initiative in the automotive industry. First, we're going to fine-tune and step up our production. By 2025, we're going to deliver more than 80 new electrified models to our customers, including 50 all-electric vehicles and 30 plug-in hybrids. You already know the Audi e-tron, the Mission E by Porsche, and the ID family by Volkswagen. In future, we're going to cover almost all segments, from volume to premium segments. And one thing is important to me. These cars are not going to convince people, they're going to enthrall them. With ranges of up to 600 kilometers, with charging times that are no longer than a coffee break, with the design, the quality and the safety that you know from our brands and that you expect of our brands, and at prices that mean that electric cars are no longer the toys for just very few. Secondly, as the first major mobility group worldwide, we have decided to actually put a date on our Roadmap E. By 2030, the Volkswagen Group is going to electrify its entire model lineup. This means that by 2030, at the latest, there'll be at least one electrified variant for all our approximately 300 group models across all brands and all markets. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is not some vague declaration of intent. It is a strong self-commitment which from today becomes the yardstick by which we and you measure our performance. At the same time, it's a clear instruction to the engineers and product developers of all group brands to rethink future product generations. It's a clear message to our suppliers so that they know what's ahead. And it's a clear signal to those responsible at the political level so that they know what they can expect from us. And last but not least, it's also a promise to our customers that Volkswagen is going to lead the way to the future. With Roadmap E, we're opening a new chapter in our group's history and setting the scene for e-mobility's final breakthrough. Now, you may ask, why? Well, a breakthrough won't be achieved by self-proclaimed pioneers. It'll be achieved by those that can actually put new technologies on the roads in relevant numbers. We're not talking about a company that sells 200,000 or 300,000 cars per year. We're talking about a group that sells more than 10 million cars year after year, in all segments: affordable, luxury, for people transport and for the transportation of goods, and in all regions of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, in the automotive world, with its long development cycles, 2030 is basically the day after tomorrow. And this means that from now, we're going to pick up the pace considerably. Putting our self-commitment into practice is not going to cost a lot of resources, but also a lot of money. So therefore, with Roadmap E, and this is thirdly, we're going to redefine our priorities. By 2030, we're going to make more than 20 billion euros available for direct investments in the industrialization of electric mobility, in vehicles that will be based on two newly engineered electric platforms, in our factories and the training of the people working for Volkswagen, in the charging infrastructure and in sales and marketing. And we're also going to take batteries into our own hands. We've pooled the development, procurement and quality assurance of all battery cells for the group in our Salzgitter Center of Excellence. And that's where we're setting up a new pilot factory where we're going to acquire production know-how. To equip our own e-fleet with lithium-ion batteries alone, we're going to need a battery capacity by 2025 of more than 150 gigawatt hours per year. Now, just to put this into perspective, this is the annual capacity of at least 4 gigafactories. And to cover this enormous demand, we've issued an invitation to tender for strategic partnerships in China, Europe, and the United States. We're talking about one of the biggest procurement projects in the history of our industry, with a global order volume of more than 50 billion euros over the term of the project. And this alone for the group's volume cars based on the Modular Electrification Toolkit, MEB for short. In this way, we're going to meet our demand for the first wave of electromobility. And in the long term, we're already preparing for the next generation, which is the solid-state battery with ranges of more than 1,000 kilometers. And that's also a future technology that we want to make ready for the market together with our partners. Ladies and gentlemen, electromobility is still in its infancy, and there are still many unanswered questions about raw materials, energy generation, the infrastructure, and last but not least, concerning the recycling of old batteries. Now, we are going to contribute our expertise and live up to our responsibility when it comes to addressing those questions. For us, the transformation of transportation and the energy transition are inseparable, and creating a comprehensive charging infrastructure rapidly in cities and on highways will be critical to success. China and California are leading the way here. In Europe, and particularly in the automotive stronghold of Germany, much more needs to be done. Only then will customers' trust in these new technologies grow. And only then will electric cars come out of their niche and achieve relevant market share in years to come. That's what it's all about. It's a joint effort, and everyone has to make their contribution. I'm convinced that this will succeed if politicians, the energy industry, and automakers work in harness. Ladies and gentlemen, the fact is that we still need modern internal combustion engines as a bridge towards a zero-emission era. Conventional and alternative drive systems are not opponents. By selling the vehicles of today, we're making the money to be able to afford billions in investments into the future. And without efficient and clean diesels of the latest generation, it won't be possible for us to achieve our climate targets. And therefore, every diesel engine from Volkswagen has an SCR catalytic converter as standard. And that is why we're going to equip our new petrol engines with soot particle filters. And that is why our engine developers are already working on the next generation for the time beyond 2019. And those engines will be even more efficient and have even fewer emissions. And that is, we're also looking at fuels made from regenerative sources of energy that can drive combustion engines on a carbon-neutral basis. And that is also why we're increasing our lineup in CNG-powered vehicles, and that is why, under the leadership of Audi, we're also working on fuel cells to make sure that they are ready for the market one of these days. We want to offer sustainable and affordable mobility for many. And for the time being, we'll be offering the entire powertrain spectrum, from conventional to fully electric. And we're not being arbitrary here. We're listening to the voice of reason. Ladies and gentlemen, the transformation of our industry is unstoppable, and we are going to lead this transformation. Our goal is to redefine mobility, to make it sustainable, clean, and better for our customers around the world. This is what drives us. This is what drives me personally, and this is what 600,000 Volkswagen employees in the group and in our brands are working on. And I am proud of what my colleagues have achieved. I'm proud of their willingness to move into uncharted territory. I'm proud of their enthusiasm and creativity. Tonight and over the next few days, you can see the results of our work, or at least some of the results, here in Hall 3. I would ask you, take this opportunity to approach us. Do talk to us. We'll look forward to it, and we're happy to discuss controversial issues with you, while others would rather stay at home. So, with that, thank you very much for your attention. And now, as promised earlier on, a first special highlight on the mobility of tomorrow. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chairman of the Board of Management Audi AG, Rupert Stadler.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, Audi has brought something very special, the Audi Icon. Now, in its name, there is AI, which stands for Artificial Intelligence. But at the same time, there's a clear vision on autonomous driving in the premium segment. And you all know our story on piloted driving on Pikes Peak, or with on the Hockenheimring, and our autonomous driving tour from San Francisco to Las Vegas. Now this time we're going to go one step further. The Icon doesn't have a steering wheel, it doesn't have any pedals. It shows how Level 5 autonomous driving can happen in the premium segment. There are sensors, electronic systems, cameras, radar functions, the lot. And thanks to this technology, we can control dangerous situations and avoid accidents. And of course, the Icon is all electric, as 1 in 3 Audis in the year 2020. And thanks to state-of-the-art battery technology, in the long term, there will be ranges of between 700 and 800 kilometers between recharges. The user experience and cabin design in the Audi Icon has been a very special task for us. In the interior, you'll find high-grade materials and excellent fit and finish. There's a 2+2 seat layout, and that gives you a completely new feeling inside the cabin. And then there's PIA, the so-called personal intelligent assistant. It's your personal avatar. It handles tasks for its passengers and thereby makes any journey comfortable and pleasant. And PIA is learning as you go along. It anticipates solutions and is the perfect service provider. For instance, when it comes to choosing your favorite music or your favorite restaurant, it reserves a table and takes you there using the navigation system. This is what we think is going to be the future of autonomous driving at Audi. More or less aesthetic, enormously progressive, and technically speaking, very sophisticated and ambitious. More on that tomorrow at 10:45. Everyone is invited to join us for the Audi press conference. See you. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what the not-too-distant future looks like. Thank you, Rupert Stadler. Ladies and gentlemen, Matthias Müller just said it. Mobility has long since been much more than a body and a powertrain. Tonight, we'll show you different aspects and facets of the mobility of today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. Because all our brands have prepared an individual program for you, and Hall 3 is big, I know, but that shouldn't be a problem. If you look around, you will find info screens in the aisle, and they will help you to find your way. So enjoy our highlights, first of all on the screen behind me, and then in a couple of seconds live at our stands. Have fun, have a nice evening at the Volkswagen IAA Preview Night 2017. Thank you.
The new Bentley Continental GT. The new Seat Cupra R. The new Seat Arona. The new Lamborghini Aventador S Roadster. The all-new Skoda Karoq. The Skoda Vision E. The new Porsche 911 GT3 with touring package. The new Porsche Cayenne. The all-new Volkswagen Amarok Aventura Exclusive. The new Volkswagen California XXL. The new Audi A5 g-tron. The new Audi Elaine. The new Audi R8 V10 rear wheel series. The all-new Audi A8. The 0400 world record-breaking Bugatti Chiron. The all-new Volkswagen T-Roc. The all-new Volkswagen Polo. The all-new Volkswagen ID Cross. We now invite you to take a closer look at the Volkswagen Group's featured models at this year's IAA.